Good morning, everybody. My name is Bailey Cooper, and I would like to welcome everybody to Eric Lofholm's daily 15-minute motivational call, which is better than a cup of coffee. And I'd like to thank Thomas Parkinson and Eric Lofholm for inviting me and providing this platform for us to share our motivational messages with you. Today, I would like to talk to you guys about the 7 diseases of attitude. And attitude is one of the most fundamental keys of success, not just in sales, but in life in general. A great attitude, followed by consistently taking the right actions, will outperform somebody working longer hours, having a higher IQ, and a better skill set. It's free and simple to develop and maximize for almost unlimited return in revenue and commissions. Although it's simple, having a positive attitude is not necessarily easy, as it takes mental toughness to develop consistently. And I want to highlight 7 of the killers of a great attitude. Our attitude is the most important attribute to gain and maintain success in life. And I've learned this the hard way. On one side, when I maintain a positive attitude, that I'm more present to opportunities when life presents them. And on the other side, that when I have a negative attitude, that I fail to utilize these opportunities, and I might end up complaining that I don't have any or that life dealt me a bad hand. Saying phrases like, if only luck like that happened to me, or getting jealous when somebody's successful. Now, I believe that luck is created in the form of learning from these lessons and then absolutely being ready for these opportunities when they show up. And we're blessed as a reward for having a positive attitude. Now, Jim Rohn says that it's important to handle these diseases, not to ignore them, because they're like weeds in a beautiful garden. And if you ignore them, they will not hesitate to take over your garden. In life, there's duality. You have positive and you have negative. And negative is normal. It's just part of life. And I believe a large mistake that I've made in the past as an optimist is focusing only on the bright side of things while neglecting or not accepting these negative realities, and thus allowing weeds to creep into my life and take over the garden. So don't ignore these negatives. Learn how to handle them. And you don't have to live in the negative, but you must learn to handle it. Chapter 1 in Eric's book, The System, is titled Sales Mindset. And in it, he talks about positive and negative beliefs ingrained within your subconscious mind. And I encourage each and every one of you, if you've read it, to go back and reread Chapter 1 in The System. If not, definitely get a copy of his book. And in most cases, it's available for free on his website. And learn how to reprogram your subconscious mind to be a master of influence by replacing those negative beliefs with positive affirmations. So definitely learn how to handle the negatives. You know, Jim Rohn also says a week of neglect could cost you a year of repair. So I don't know if anybody has never heard of Jim Rohn, but he was one of the most influential speakers of the late 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And his speaking style brought out a unique mixture of humor partnered with philosophy. And this result motivated and absolutely captivated his audiences with this burning desire to change and improve. And this helped inspire me by helping me to believe that financial success comes from self-development. And I started listening to Jim Rohn about 12 years ago, which inspired me to start reading more books and developing myself by attending seminars and improving my skill set. And he has this really powerful rags to riches story from being a farm boy in Idaho, being broke in his mid-20s, and then through excellent mentorship, he became wealthy and lived out the rest of his life teaching and giving seminars. Jim Rohn has motivated speakers and authors like Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, T. Harv Eker, Eric Thomas, and this is just a fraction of all who are influenced by him. And then look at the people that they influenced, like our mentor, Eric Lofholm. Now, the first disease of attitude is indifference. It's called the drifter's approach to life. Now, you can't drift your way up the mountain. Most people don't get themselves motivated, or they get motivated for a short period of time and quickly go back into drift mode because they lost the desire that they first developed. So you can gain and maintain that desire by having a very powerful why. And you must get and stay motivated to be a winner. The best quality to look for in a person is somebody with passion. I've probably done 500 or 600 interviews in my past looking for the right candidates for my sales and marketing teams, and the number one quality I looked for was somebody that had passion. So it doesn't even matter what they're passionate about. It's just because if they have passion, that's the trait that shows that they're the type of person that if given the right tools, that they can give their work everything they've got. So a quote by Jim Rohn is, put everything you've got into everything that you do. You can't be great if you're indifferent. So get passionate. And some things that I do is I watch motivational videos every day. I listen to calls like this. I read inspirational book snippets. And I start my day on a positive note. And so just get in the habit and routine of setting aside at least 30 minutes each morning or at night to form this power-packed routine. And number 2 is indecision or mental paralysis. When you can't make up your mind, and I've suffered from this, this is probably one that's affected me the most. When you're stuck in that mental paralysis, you're always on the fence and don't really know which side to get off. You find yourself saying phrases like, what do I do? Or reaching out for somebody to help provide you feedback. Or should I do this? Or maybe this is better. And if you've ever suffered from that, then you know what it's like. And, I kind of thought that it was a form of being intelligent for being a thinker. And I would think and think and think and believing that I was being tactical, but in reality, I was plagued by this disease, thus creating indecision. So advice is get off the fence. It doesn't really matter which side, because if it's the wrong side, that you'll find out quicker than if you get off on the right side and are regretting that decision. So life is full of decisions. Give everything you got and take advantage of these opportunities that present itself. It's not how many that you get right that counts. It's what you do with what decisions that you make. And Napoleon Hill explains this in his book, Think and Grow Rich, that successful people have the common trait to be quick thinkers. And that's described in, I believe, the chapter Decision, The Mastery of Procrastination. That's a great book. I encourage everybody to read it. Also, I love the philosophy of Bruce Lee, and he said, if you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. So don't get plagued by mental paralysis. Number 3 is doubt. Now, there are many kinds of doubt, but the worst is self-doubt. Now, I used to doubt whether or not I could do a task or not, if I could meet sales goals or accomplish 90-day goals, or this past year I started a book and I put it off. In the first month, I wrote 18 chapters, and from then to now, and that was 6 months ago, I've wrote 1 chapter. So realizing that little voice of doubt inside of my head is actually supposed to be there to keep you in check. So when you give into that voice, that's when the disease festers. So just acknowledge it and be aware that that's not telling you what to do. It's just it's part of your brain's role of self-preservation, and you can be aware of it, observe it, but be the master of your thoughts and your decisions, and don't get stuck in paralysis and have self-doubt. So advice is know your self-worth. I realize that I've doubted myself in the past, maybe because I don't have a college degree, or because at an early age I was diagnosed with ADD. and maybe I didn't know who I was, but you know, I'm very confident in my skill set and my ability. So learn what you're passionate about and what you're capable of. My favorite Bible verse is Philippians 4:13, which says that I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And you know, things that have helped me in the past is having little affirmations printed on index cards and going out throughout the day and periodically looking at them to help renew my mind. So there's a good book that I'd recommend that will help you guys see what you can do without limitations, and it's called The Greatest Miracle in the World by Og Mandino. Highly recommended. Number 4 is worry. This disease is probably the number 1 killer. It creates all sorts of social problems, financial problems, relationships issues, and especially work-related problems. Worrying, it just brings about uneasiness and unnecessary stress that ruins opportunities. Now, I had to stop watching the news a long time ago, and I don't know if anybody wakes up and reads the paper. Jim Rohn talks about this, and I like to say the phrase that there's no news, it's just bad news. So control the flow of information to your mind. And you can't really control what comes into your mind if you're watching the news or if you're kind of like wavering to and fro in the wind. And so as an entrepreneur or as a sales representative, you must have a level of paranoia and be really protective of what you allow into your mind. So my advice is, you know, like the Frozen movie, any of you that have kids know this, let it go. Let go of worry. Protect your mind. And if you pray, why worry? If you worry, why pray? That's a philosophy that I carry. And anytime I get tempted with worry, I just pray about it. And, you know, maybe I'll jot it down and tell somebody about it, but I do my best to move on. And this takes diligent effort. So you're not alone. Just reach out, and you'll be surprised that there's other people that feel the same way and have dealt with it. So the 5th disease of attitude is being overcautious, the timid approach to life. Now, some will never have and be much because they're too cautious. I can think of many people like this, and I don't want to call them out, but I can learn and grow and change who I want to be by looking at, you know, some of the smartest people that I know in the world are overcautious, and they're lucky to make, you know, $8, $9, $10 an hour is because they want to take the safe route. And, you know, so learn how to take risks, but smart, calculated risks. Just look at the pros and cons of not taking action. You know, life is risky. Getting out of bed is risky. Eating is risky. Even driving to work is risky. So don't worry about that. My advice is to embrace calculated risk. The key word is calculated. So be careful of those quick get-rich-quick schemes or those fast investments. Instead of sitting in the corner, why don't you try life's new adventures? So my advice is to try something new every day and jot down those new things that you tried. Eric suggests next time you go to get a cup of coffee to order something different. If you drink coffee, maybe order a tea. If you go out to your favorite restaurant, maybe order something that you've never had before, or ask the server for their special or to make a recommendation. And then jotting this in your journal in 2017, you can look back at all these times that you tried something new and then write how it made you feel and go back and reread that for encouragement. I'm almost done. I want to wrap up really quickly. I know I've got a lot of content. You know, trying something new has really been easy for me. And if it's been easy for you, then maybe take it a step further and, you know, maybe take a calculated risk. Maybe reach out to your friend or financial advisor. And if you've been hesitant on investing, maybe try something new. You'd be surprised. You just may end up patting yourself on the back for taking that risk. So pessimism. Number 6 is pessimism. And it's been really easy for me to avoid is because I've been naturally optimistic. But if you call yourself a realist or if you're pessimistic, this could be a major disease that's holding you back from success. When you're always looking at the issues that could go wrong and never see the positives. It's a sunny day outside. You look out the window, instead of seeing the sun, you look at the specks on the window. If you're that type of person and you're always criticizing and never encouraging, be aware of it, spot it, and get rid of it. And, choose to see the sun, choose to see the forest behind the trees. And, we see the world as how we are. Life is a mirror of ourself. So if you're always pessimistic, take a look in the mirror and look at maybe why you're pessimistic. What is your negative beliefs ingrained in your subconscious mind? And start to replace those beliefs with positive affirmations. And start to see the glass as half full. And the last disease of attitude is complaining. And it's really, really easy to get sold on this idea of complaining based on what society tells us through social media, through the news, through the fake news. In the Old Testament of the Bible, you've got Moses took the Israelites out of the Promised Land, and on a 40 years journey, they never made it to the Promised Land because they complained the entire trip. I don't know if that's why, but it's what happened, and you can learn from it. So don't complain. Even God can only take so much. So once you stop complaining, you'll find that you'll probably gain more friends. There's nothing that I dislike more than a friend of mine that always calls me up to complain and tell me about himself. So if you're that person, stop it and maybe try reaching out to one person a day and completely ignoring your self-interest and asking them genuinely how they're doing, how they're feeling, and don't have any agenda. That's what helped me years ago. Being altruistic, giving of myself, maybe start volunteering, and you'll start to see just how small your problems actually are. So my closing thoughts to you guys is to stand guard, be in control of your mind, and these consist of the things that you listen to, what you read, things that you watch on TV. These pour massive ingredients into the framework of your subconscious mind. So just don't let anybody dump anything inside of your mind. Trash goes into the trash can, so don't allow it into your mind. And, I want to leave you guys with a question to ask yourself and an action step. So what belief do you have ingrained in your subconscious mind that's either helping you or that you need to improve or remove? Reread Chapter 1 in the book, The System, and find me on social media, Bailey Cooper, and share with me, either in a direct message or on my Facebook wall, your favorite disease of attitude that you're going to work on to improve, and your favorite affirmations. So I appreciate for the opportunity to share this message with you guys. Jim Rohn has been a very powerful impact on my life, and this call has changed me quite a lot. So all of you that have been consistently tuning in, thank you, and I look forward to hosting next week's call. So make today an outstanding day, and I'll talk to you guys later.